Hi, STEM students. It's your host here, Mrs. Jenna Brandt, your STEM teacher for the school year. And I'm going to start by just saying hi and welcome back to school. I miss all of you so very much, and I cannot believe you're in fourth grade. What a big year for you. It's going to be a great year. I know that it's a little hard starting out with us not being close together, but I'm thinking of each and every one of you right now and always, and I cannot wait to be back together with you. But until then, I have decided to pre-record some of my STEM lessons simply because the technology issues that we're having here, it won't allow me to see you and for you to see me as clearly. So I thought if I pre-record my lessons, then you can watch them when it's convenient for you at home. And I will then be here live for you until 1:05 on your live STEM day in case you have any questions for me. So after you're done with the video today, if you go into your STEM tab in your teacher's Google Classroom, there will be a link in the STEM tab for STEM class, and I will be there from 12:25 to 1:05 on your classes live STEM day. Okay, so you can look forward to that. If you have any questions when the video is over, like I said, I will be there waiting for you. So let's get started with class today. I'm going to share my screen with you to show you just some things that we'll be doing in class today. For a quick starter, let's start with what is STEM. Now, it's been a while since we've been in the school building, and I hope you've not forgotten me and you've not forgotten my favorite class, STEM. So let's just go through what it is. The S in STEM stands for science. And as you guys know, a lot of different topics in science that you've been working on throughout the years. T is for technology. The E is for engineering. That's where we do our building. And the M is for math. And you know, a lot of times in math, we're doing measurement when we're in STEM class. In this module today and for the next few weeks, we'll be learning all about energy and collisions. So in this school year, if we ever get back together, you'll be able to build your very own vehicles using VexKit parts. It's very similar to Legos. Okay, so some things we'd like to talk about to start. While we're learning together, I want you to be thinking about some learning goals that I have for you. And there's two of them. Okay, by the end of our time together, I would like for you to be able to state questions that engineers may ask when gathering information about a situation people want to change. You'll find in this module that you are going to act as engineers and you're going to build your very own vehicle, and you're going to have to think like a real engineer, and you're going to have to think about a situation that has a problem that you're going to want to fix. And secondly, you're going to list ways, more than one way, in which energy can be transferred. That means moved from here to here. So how will that work? Be thinking about that while we continue, okay? And there are two questions, again, just like our two learning objectives, there are two questions that are going to be essential for you to be always having right in the forefront of your mind while we work together in STEM class. And the first one is, how are potential and kinetic energy related? And you might be thinking to yourself, I don't even know what those two things mean. That's okay. We're going to get there, but I want you to always be thinking, how are potential and kinetic energy related? What is the relationship between those two things? And also, what happens to energy in a collision? When two things collide, what happens there? Okay, all right. I don't need the answer to those questions now. Again, I just want you to always be thinking about those things as we continue to grow and build in our lessons over the next few weeks. And by the end, you should be able to answer those two questions. Okay. All right, so we're going to get started with the introduction of the actual module now, and it's called Energy Collisions. So I have a little story for you with, as you've guessed, our three friends, Milo, Susie, and Angelina, and in this story, they are going to be going to the amusement park. So sit back, relax, feel free to follow along as I read the story to you. Milo woke up early on Saturday morning and hurried to get dressed and eat breakfast. He had been waiting all week for the day to finally arrive. Milo, Angelina, and Susie were going to the amusement park with Susie's mom. After breakfast, he worked quickly to finish his list of chores, recycling, cleaning his room, and walking the dog. By 10 o'clock, Milo was sitting on the front porch of his apartment, waiting for the others to show up. Soon he saw a car coming down the road. "Mom, my ride is here," Milo shouted through the screen door. His mother came down to the door and waved at Susie's mom, thanking her for taking the friends for a fun day. As they walked into the amusement park, Susie's mom asked, "So, what are you looking forward to the most?" Milo couldn't wait to ride the roller coaster. Susie was looking forward to finding a ride where she could get wet. Angelina said, I really want to ride the bumper cars. My cousin Manny said that they're really fun. You get to drive the bumper car and actually crash it into each other. Milo and Susie were not sure that they shared Angelina's excitement when they got closer to the bumper cars. They watched as the riders steered their cars around the enclosed area, crashing into each other. Some of the riders appear to be trying to crash into cars, while others seem to be trying not to be hit. From this view, it doesn't look very safe, exclaimed Milo. Does it hurt when you crash? Look at those faces. I don't know if it hurts, but look how the people are thrown forward when the two cars crash. What keeps them from being thrown out of the car? Susie inquired. Angelina replied, look closer. They are wearing seatbelts to keep them in the car. Susie added, they are wearing helmets too. I guess that's to protect your head. The three friends talked about how the cars have rubber bumpers all around them to protect the cars when they crash. They noticed that the riders were laughing and no one appeared to be injured when the ride ended. After watching for a while, Angelina asked, anyone ready to join me on the bumper cars? Milo and Susie said, I am, at the same time. The three friends fastened their helmets and their safety harnesses. They all listened closely for the instructions from the ride operator. Soon the ride began and the chase was on. When the ride came to an end, they were laughing and trying to decide which of the three friends was in the most crashes. As they headed for the next ride, they continued to talk about their first bumper car ride. It's really cool how the cars bounce away from each other when they crash, Susie commented. Angelina added, I agree. It was really fun, but it was also really loud. I guess it's from all the cars running into each other in that enclosed area. I couldn't hear anything but crashes and people laughing. Milo agreed with the girls. I wasn't so sure about riding the bumper cars when I first saw them. I could really feel how the safety belts kept me in the car when we crashed. That's true, Susie remarked. It makes me think about how seatbelts work in real car crashes. While Susie was talking about real car crashes, it reminded her of how the class project for their teacher, Miss Morales, had just been assigned. The class was going to be designing a restraint system for a vehicle. Maybe we can use some of these experiences to help us design the restraint systems that Miss Morales described this week, Susie commented. Milo asked, aren't our passengers going to be eggs? That's right, added Angelina. We are going to have to design something that will protect the egg if the vehicle crashes. Oh, that sounds hard, Milo said as he scratched his head. How do you know where to start designing something that could keep an egg from cracking? That's a great question. Now, I'm wondering, have you ever been on a bumper car before? Do you know what it feels like to be in that kind of crash and to not get hurt when you're done? It's really a lot of fun, isn't it? I'm wondering, as an engineer, how are those built? And how do those keep people protected when they're playing at the amusement park? So the question I have for you is this. Can you help the three friends follow the engineering design process to solve the problem and answer Milo's question about where to start? That's a great question. So let's go ahead and take a look at the design process. Here it is. Anytime we do any kind of activity in class where we need to solve a problem, we'll use the design process to help us. It's a system that goes back and it goes forward in one big circle. And it's a way for us to start at the beginning and get to an end when it comes to solving a problem. So as you can see on my page here, I got the first one at the top and it's to ask. Ask, what's the problem that we're trying to solve? What do we need to be successful in the end? The second step is to explore, to get some ideas, to really do some research and find some really good possible solutions. The next one, a lot of kids like this one. This is the model step. This is where you actually get to build and create and start thinking about some ideas that could actually come to life and become real ideas that have now been built. And then after that, we have the evaluate step. Now, sometimes you'll see here this arrow goes back and forth. Sometimes you evaluate your project after you're done and you realize maybe it's not the best, or maybe it was awesome. And at this step, you can decide if you want to keep going forward or if maybe there's something about your plan you want to change. And then last but not least is our explain step. And that's the step that I like the best as your teacher because it helps for you to tell me how things went. What went great? What would you change next time? And how did it all work in the very end? So this process you're seeing on this page here is going to be very important in STEM class. And it's something that we'll be using time and time again in STEM class here in 4th grade. And then again, when you go to the middle school and the junior high, you'll see the same kind of format for when you're trying to solve a problem. So let's get to it. So I've got this vehicle here and I have an egg. Now, sadly, my egg's not a real one today, but that's okay. I think it'll be good enough for the to give you the idea of what's going to happen here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen over here by my ramp, and I'm going to have you guys watch what happens when I take my car, my vehicle, and I take my egg and I roll it down the ramp. So let me pause for one moment and get myself set up, and I'll be right back with you. All right, I'm back again. Here we go. We are all set up. Here is my vehicle. Here's my egg. And as you can see, here is my ramp to the wall. So let's go ahead and roll it and see what happens. At this point, before I actually roll it down the ramp, I'd like you to start thinking about what do you think is going to occur when I let the vehicle go? I think as a 4th grader, you have a good idea of what's going to happen, but let's go ahead and test it out because there's only one way to find out for sure. Here we go. Make sure you can see it all. Learning so many new things. All right. Did it do what you thought? Oh, look it. It actually did break. How funny. Even though it's a plastic egg, it did break in this example here. And that's exactly what you should have saw, what would have happened with a real live egg if we had one today in class. So my question for you is, why did the egg break? Why didn't it stay solid? And that's something we're going to be exploring not just today right now, but you'll be exploring over the next few weeks in STEM class. Why does an egg break when it goes down the ramp in this vehicle? And is there something we can do to fix that problem? Let's keep on going. I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to talk a little more about that in detail. So the demonstration of the egg breaking as it collided with the wall or another solid object on the ramp may have raised some questions. Again, why does the egg break? Think about that. What does the egg demonstration have to do with energy? Because this module is all about energy and collisions. And what changes can I make on my vehicle to keep my little egg safe? So if you made a vehicle similar to mine, what could you do differently as an engineer to protect that egg? So in the end, when it rolls down the ramp, it doesn't break. That's the ultimate goal here. In this activity in class today, you're going to learn about energy, collisions, and seat belt safety as you prepare to design your very own vehicle restraint system in the final design problem. So that will be your final goal. All right, so here, when I'd done the project before, this is what the egg looked like in the end. That is one sad looking egg. So again, please consider some of these questions. Why does the egg break? What makes you think this? Why does the egg demonstration have to do with energy? And what changes could I make to the vehicle in the end to solve the problem of the egg breaking? Those are all the questions we want to keep asking ourselves, and then we'll do some research, okay? All right. So it's time to move on. I know that I'm doing a lot of talking today, and I do apologize. It's a pre-recorded lesson, but at the very end, you will get a slideshow and with all these things on it, and you will share some of your thoughts with me then, and you will share that back with me so we can be communicating together, okay? So we are now going to read an article. It's not a true story. It's an article with real facts in it, and this article has to do with seatbelts. Now, I do want you to be thinking about all these things consciously. We're talking about vehicles, and now we're talking about seatbelts. And a minute ago, we were talking about bumper cars. All these things are related, and they're going to relate back to this activity where you have to build your own vehicle to protect your egg. So let's talk about seatbelts. Seatbelts save lives. Did you know that according to the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration, every year in the United States, more than 12,000 lives are saved by seatbelts? How does a seatbelt keep you safe in a vehicle? Buckle up and read to find out. So there are some questions you're going to be thinking about as I read this to you. The first one is, what fact in the article surprised you the most? And how can this information help you as you design your own vehicle restraint system to keep your eggs safe, okay? So those are questions you're thinking about while I'm reading out loud to you. And then ultimately, like I said, when you build your own vehicle to protect your own egg, this will help you. It's almost like we're on the explore step already. Okay. In 1930, several US doctors began putting seatbelts into cars and encouraged car manufacturers to include seatbelts in their designs. At this time, the seatbelts were lap belts. That means they only went around your lap. Like if you're looking here, nowadays we have this strap that goes here, but back in the 1930s, there was only one that went over your lap. And quite honestly, that was around for a long time. 3-point safety belts like the one here in this picture and the one you see in vehicles today were invented by a Swedish design engineer named Niels Bohlin. Mr. Bohlin had worked on safety harnesses in airplanes and was hired by Volvo to create a safer seatbelt. Volvo is a car manufacturer. In 1959, Volvo introduced the 3-point seatbelt. And the 3 points is 1, 2, 3. So there's 3 parts to the seatbelts today. And in the interest of safety, Volvo made the new seatbelt design available to other car companies for free. That's pretty big. In 1964, about half of the US states require seatbelts in front seats. Today, all 50 states require seatbelts for all passengers and have laws for child safety seats for babies and for young children. Seatbelts keep passengers safe in a collision by absorbing energy and keeping the person attached firmly to the seat. Airbags also protect passengers by absorbing the energy of the moving person. So if seatbelts and airbags absorb energy, where does the energy come from? And what is energy? Energy is the ability to do work. So if you stop right now and do a jumping jack, and as a matter of fact, stop right now and do 5 jumping jacks. Is everyone ready? Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, you just did some work. Nice job. And if you feel your heart rate, it's probably going a little faster, huh? Well, this work is done by applying force to an object. A force is a push or a pull that makes an object move, stop moving, or change direction. When a car suddenly stops, the people in the car are still moving and will continue to move until a force pushes or pulls on them, causing them to stop. Seatbelts and airbags safely stop a person from moving forward. So where did the person get the energy that they need to absorb? And does it matter how fast the car is driving? The person riding in the car is being pushed by the car. While you sit in a car, the car applies a force on your body to accelerate the rest to whatever speed that both you and the car are moving. The faster the car is moving, the more energy will need to be absorbed in a collision to keep the passenger safe. So if this car is going at 30 miles per hour and you're in this car, you are also going 30 miles per hour. So in a collision and the car stops at 30 miles per hour, whoever is sitting right here is also going to go 30 miles per hour until something stops it. So a seatbelt would protect you from going any further. The person riding in the vehicle is pushed by the car. While you sit in the car applies a force to your body to accelerate from rest to whatever speed that you and the car are moving at. The faster the car is moving, the more energy will need to be absorbed in the collision to keep the passenger safe. So that's something to consider, not just in this egg activity, but also for yourself. So I want you to think again. What fact in the article that I just read to you was most surprising? And how can this information help you as you think about the design to keep your egg passenger safe? Those are some good questions that I want you to keep thinking about. In class today, we have talked briefly about collisions, and we've talked about why it would be important to want to protect your egg. Okay, so what you're going to do for me is you are going to take this Google Slides and you are going to answer the following questions. Why is it important to know about energy and forces when designing a seatbelt? And when should you wear a seatbelt and why? After you get a chance to think through those 2 questions, I would like for you to write responses to them on this page. After you do that, you can submit this back to me in your Google Classroom under this lesson, okay? If you have any questions for me, you can put them in the comments in our Google Classroom under STEM, or you can have, you can dojo message me and I can contact, or you can email me. Those would probably be the 3 best ways to contact me. I will be in your classroom today until 1:05. So if you have any questions for me, or if you just want to pop in to say hi, you can do so. I might be slightly blurry. Like I said, the internet's not going great down here, but I'm more than willing to try. So I will be available today until 1:05 if you have any questions. Otherwise, look for your next lesson to come on energy collisions. All right, thanks so much, everyone. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the school day, and I can't wait to see you again soon. All right, bye.